Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. Today I'm doing something a little different than I've done this week, which is a watercolor painting. One of my best buddies and most, heartfelt supporters sent me these super cool art supplies. They're specifically watercolor. The watercolors actually inspired me to buy this recently because I saw a video or something where they were being used together, and I was like, oh, it's perfect because there's 6 of these and there's 6 here, and this is like the exact thing they were using. She also sent me this, which I'm going to use at the end, which is a really super cool glass pen, like a dip pen. And then during my printmaking workshop at the beginning of the summer session, my printmaking professor was like, oh, if you happen to have one of these cool glass pens, then you can use it to do this technique. And I'm like, I have one! So, yep, I've used this a few times this summer. I'm gonna use it again. I'm gonna use my favorite Palomino Blackwing pencil because I just bought these actual brand name fancy metal tip protectors. So I'm like, well, I better use it. Bought the fancy protector. And what else? If I need to sharpen it, I'm going to use my awesome ratcheting. What is this? A pencil sharpener? What is it? I'm going to use this deleter ink with the pen at the end. And here are a bunch of brushes. This ought to be enough. I love round brushes, so if I have a small, medium, and large. And then in case I want it, I've got this shader brush. And then I'm using my new favorite thing, whenever I can actually remember to put it on, SmudgeGuard Glove. So first things first, I gotta open this stuff. This new stuff. Sarah! Hello! Oh, I'm waving as if you're in front of me. Hi! You made it right at the beginning! Yay! I decided I want this whole sketchbook, this watercolor sketchbook, to be, so I've been thinking that I need to practice drawing like environments, like landscapes and stuff, so I decided that I'm going to make this whole thing, because also it's perfect for landscapes, the way it's literally like landscape. So I'm going to fill it with various landscapes. And I have so many pictures, so I'm just going to use my photo references. Maybe sometimes I might bring it out and do plein air or something. Wow. I did not expect... Oh, okay. It's got a little bit of texture. Interesting. This is like the least textured paper. I wonder if it's hot press paper. Oh, I'm interested to try it. There's like no... There's like no tooth. There's a little texture, but there's not really any tooth. I don't know if you guys can... You can sort of see it. Yeah. You can sort of see that. Some of these kinds of watercolor books are front and back together, so you could do a double page spread. But then the next double page is 2 backs. Well, maybe I'll try it with this first page and see if it seems to bleed through at all. And then, whether it does or not, that could determine if I do that, because that could be a cool idea to make a huge, long landscape like this. Like a vista. That's what you call that, a vista. I love the color of this paper, though. It's like that off-white, warm color. I don't know if you call it eggshell or what. And it's also nice that it has this little loop on it, so if I do take it out plein air, I can put a water brush in here, or some other kind of brush. Sweet, so I got this. I'm gonna have to move these, because it's so long. There, I'll have them like that, I guess. Let me put this over here. Okay, the other thing I need to open is the actual watercolors. These are like actual Japanese, because it's all got Japanese in here. I can't read half of the kanji. Shio ue no go chui. So I guess that means warnings before use, or like, you know, please read these before using. Something no te, that means hand, but I don't know. Okanai tokoro ni. When I can't read the kanji, the meaning just goes right away. Kuchi ya me ni haire. No, ire. Irenaide. Don't get it in your mouth or your eyes. High temperature. I guess light, because typically it's like you keep out of light and high temperatures. So, because this definitely means light. This means sun, so it's probably sunlight. So maybe it's like direct sunlight. That's usually the warning on stuff. No ataru tokoro ni okanaide kudasai. So don't store it in light or high temperatures, in direct sunlight or high temperatures. Shio go or ato? No. Gozen gogo go wa kesu no futa. Futa. I don't know what futa is. Oshite something. Can't read that one. Bai wa. In the case of something. A plate? Something with a plate. Ni. Picture. Oh, I should totally know these kanji. I can't remember them. Well, it's probably the same usual. Most of the ones that I could actually read were the same stuff. The same stuff that is written on most stuff. Come out! Come out! Come out! Oh. Yes. Yes. Oh. What else does this say? Couldn't read it before. Hinban? Product number. Okay, product number. I don't know if I pronounced it right though. They have a website, Boku-Undo.co.jp. I might check it out later. Boku-Undo Co. Limited. Made in Japan. Okay, let's open it. Oh, and it says that it's Obesu ni skarareta atarashii iro. Oh, I don't know. No sekai. Oh, I don't know what it says. I can't read it. Oh, there's more plastic. Typical of a Japanese product. There's plastic everywhere. Everything is wrapped. Wrapped and wrapped and wrapped again. Oh my goodness. Look at these. They're pans. Neat. So I think what they did, I don't think it was a video now because I don't remember seeing them actually, but I think they like used a brush to pull up and then they put the color into there, and that's how they did it. Here's the colors. They all look the same on the camera, but that's probably why they have these little color guides on the top, so you can tell what it's gonna be. This is a lot of watercolor too. This is gonna last forever, or at least it ought to last me through this sketchbook if I use only this. I wonder if I should... Oh, hey, look, it has a little... I didn't look at the back. It has a little pocket if you need to put something in here. That's cool. Like, if I took it plein air painting, maybe I could put some of my business cards in there, and then someone comes talk to me because I'm painting. And then I'm like, here's my business card. Whoop! It's right in there. That's a good idea. I gotta remember that. But I was thinking that maybe I would use one of these back pages to test these colors. Just to see, you know, see how they work. Maybe I'll do the very back page. Then that way, if I do end up doing a long vista type drawing, I can still use that last set of pages. I think it's meant for calligraphy. Yeah, it says something about picture. What did it say? It was like picture. I can read this. This says picture. Ah, it fell out. This says picture. I can read that one. This one, I don't know. Oh, it says zoomy though. Zoomy. I wonder if it's zoomy as in sumi, and that's a kind of Japanese style ink. I could just point my Google at it on my phone and it would read it for me, but I like to practice. I like to practice my reading. Okay, I've got to get a little bit of this stuff. I wanted it all on screen so everybody could see what I'm starting with, but now it's like in the way, so. And get my paper towel over here. That way I can use it easier. There. There. Oh, there. Just want to try them out. Put your reference photos in there. Yeah, that's a good idea too. If I had one printed or I cut it out from a magazine or something. Oh, I got a set of these for myself too. I haven't used them much, but they're very dark and I really like having dark options. Interesting. Let's see. Let's see what they're like. Okay, this is going to be direct from the pan. Oh yeah, super dark, super dark. They come up really easily too. You don't have to work it or anything to get it. And just like, as soon as it... Oh, I can totally see the difference though. Ooh, so cool. This brownish black one is really like black, like it's... Oh, look, it doesn't look like it bleeds through. So I think I can totally do your idea, Sarah. Yeah, good idea. Because that'll be so satisfying to flip through here and it's like page after page after page. But yeah, this brownish black is, well, they're all blah 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 black. But this one is not very translucent. This one seems to be a little translucent. Purplish black. Okay, let's try bluish black. Oh, you can totally tell the difference. Oh, it's so cool. They're really dark, but it's true. They just, it's a little different once they dry. It gets a little bit more opaque looking, but it's definitely, this one is definitely much more opaque than either of these two. Oh, Google thought I was talking to it. I have like a Google speaker thing in here and it thought I was talking to it. That's okay, Google. It's funny. I thought that might happen at one point. Ever since I got that in here, that it might talk to me while I'm on stream. That's okay. It's Google. It's polite. Oh, this one's super This one is like this one. It's super opaque. Greenish black. You can water them down and lighten them up, but they keep that blackness to them, so they're never a bright color. It's definitely in line with the Japanese traditional aesthetic, which I just read about because I finished reading my Japanese culture book, and that was a chapter we didn't read for class, but I wanted to finish the book because it was short, and it talked about that stuff that's, I mean, we did talk about it in class, we just didn't have the assigned reading. So in class we talked about how it's like the middle is like the beauty, like the beauty of sadness and the beauty of pain and stuff like that, like sort of a melancholy whatever, and then it comes through in the visuals too. Like if you think of a Japanese style garden, and it's usually not like bursting with flowers, it's more subdued, and colors like these. I think this one might be my favorite. Makes sense since it says it's reddish black. And red is my favorite color. Okay, so I'm going to try exactly what you said. But I want to use a bigger brush. I'm going to put some water in each of these to do a watered down version. Just a little bit. So one by one. Scoop up. Oh no. This thing keeps, I need to like tape this down or something. I need to remember that I have to hold it. Yeah, these are going to last forever. That's why I love watercolors. They just last forever. So you may as well just get the best ones you can, because you're going to have them for years. Years and years and years. Okay, hold on. I want to try to clean this up so I can read it later. Come on. I've got a bunch of paint on here. I don't mind a little bit of paint on there, but I want to be able to read it. There, that's good. Now, this purple one. Oh, I need more. I need more than that. There we go. Okay. And the bluish one. These are pretty cool. I've never used watercolors like these before. I love how they look in here. It's so cool looking. Just having them in the palette is cool looking. I'm not even painting with them yet. Okay, there's that one. Next is the green one. Don't forget which is which. Once I've got them in here with a little bit of water, they're a lot easier to tell. They're a lot easier to tell apart. Man, I might need to... guess I may as well not bother. I was thinking that I might need to change my water already, but it'll just get super dirty with these really dark colors right away. I think this is going to be perfect for the landscape photo that I picked. I went to the very beginning because what I really want to practice right now is the Pacific Northwest, which where I live, Boise can like sort of just barely be considered part of it. But I really love the Seattle area, especially the greater, that whole region with so many mountains and huge trees. So I picked a photo from the first time I ever went to that area. It's got mountains, trees, it's got a highway and stuff, but I'm not gonna paint that. I'm gonna take all the human elements out. I'll just pretend they're not there. Because what I'm practicing for is for the novel that I'm slowly working on. So I want to be able to illustrate it. I can't do that well if I don't have practice. Ah, it's so pretty. I'm gonna pick it up and show you guys. You're writing a novel? Yep, that's the main thing I want to do, but it takes a long time because I'm planning it out properly. I want to write it properly. I don't want to end up like a lot of people that they don't know they don't know how to end it, you know. They have a great idea and everything, but then they start working on it and then they don't know what to do. They get to some point, but for me, it's easier if I have a general idea of the entire thing and then I can write and fill in the details, but that also means I need a lot of background. So I've been working on that kind of stuff. I slowly work on it a little bit every so often. Look at the palette. It's so pretty. You can tell the different colors. Ooh. Okay, I'll stop that. Now I wanted to test doing a more lighter, a watered down application. Let's see what that's right. I know you wanted to write books, but I honestly thought you'd start with a shorter story before jumping right into a novel. I've thought about that, but even short stories take a lot of time to work on, and so since novels take so long, I'm like, well, may as well get started on the thing I really want to do. Get started now. Dang it, I keep doing this. I need little things so that it won't. So one of the first things I learned when I finally started taking my illustration classes was that writing a kid's illustrated book, you know, like a picture book that's like 30 pages long or something, 32 actually, because it has to be a multiple of 8, or it usually is a multiple of 8. It still takes like 2 years from start to finish. So that's a long time. And I have a lot of ideas that I want to share from this world that I've been building in my head slowly over the years. So I feel like I gotta just get started on it now. It's so pretty. These are beautiful. These are beautiful colors. I like doing out, seeing how it works when I try to combine it. Oh, it's beautiful. I love this sort of edge thing. I love watercolor. Love watercolor. Now this was another really thick one. Yeah. Well, thick. I mean like... What do I mean? I mean... Not thick. Opaque. Opaque is what I meant.
It's 2:08 p.m.
Oh my gosh, Google thought I asked what time it was. Thank you, Google. Oh my gosh. It didn't talk to me at all week, and now today it thinks I'm talking to it. Dang it, I keep getting paint on here because I keep forgetting that this moves. I need some sort of something or other. Just try to remember to hold it. To hold it with my hand. Yeah, you can get some really light colors, but there's still that totally traditional Japanese aesthetic. Like, I'm gonna get a book real quick. I'm pretty sure I have a book that shows you. It's right here. Is this it? Is this one it? I'm not sure if this is it, but I'll bring it over there so you guys can see what I'm doing at least. This is an E-Sumi book in English. I feel like I had a book where they showed you how to use color for these kind of paintings. Like, look at these. Look at how amazing this is. I'm not seeing much color though. Oh, here's some color. Innovative uses for sumi. I've read some of this book. I need to go through and read like the whole thing. This doesn't seem to be the one though. There was definitely, let's see. Oh, maybe it's this one. This is a Chinese painting. That one was Japanese painting. Oh, yeah, I bet this is. And Japanese painting historically came from China via Korea, so they're all really interrelated. Oh. I could just look at this stuff forever. I don't even remember exactly why I wanted to look at it. I guess to see the color being used. Look, penguins! Okay. This was it. Pretty sure this was it. Oh, where did this... Oh, here it goes. Okay. Oh, I didn't put the extra color on here because I got totally distracted. Whatever, it's okay. Ah, you called me out. So easily distracted. Shush, shush. Acorn Oakland, hello. Welcome. I'm just testing my colors right now, these new colors that I've never used before. Oh. This red one is so good. I like it a lot. Utsukushi. I like it. I like this red. This one looks totally different because I forgot to put it on there. So distractible. It's because I'm having fun though. And it reminds me of other stuff and I just want to look it up. I don't know if I'm going to use this red though. I'm looking at my reference picture. There's a lot of blue and a lot of green and yellow. What are you going to be making today? I'm going to be doing a... I think I can... I can't mess with it right now. But I'm working on I wanted to... I'm thinking about whether I should turn this yet or let it dry. I think I'll let it dry. I want to do landscape paintings in this book and fill it completely with landscapes. Sarah had a great idea to do like vistas across 2 pages. But today, since I'm doing the very first page, I'll just do this one. Because this isn't watercolor paper, this is like that Guardian paper or whatever. I knew what it was called at one point. This was Guardian paper. So I'm gonna paint a Pacific Northwest landscape. It's got some mountains in it, some trees and flower, because it was from when I went to Seattle in spring of 2010. And this, I think this blue, the bluish black is gonna be perfect. Maybe a little of this purple. Definitely the green, definitely the yellow. But in this particular reference photo, I don't really see much of this brownish black or the reddish black. You'll have plenty of chances to use the red later, even if you don't use it today. That is true. Because look at these. These are all my chances. Plenty of chances. I've never used a sketchbook so purposefully before, so I hope it works out for me. It would probably take me a while to fill it. I don't know how many pages this had. I don't think the label said. Yeah. It just says watercolor 5x8 and 220 GSM. So yeah. Oh, it says new product on here. Interesting. Okay. And it's still a little wet, but whatever, it's okay. I'm gonna get started. So the first thing I'm gonna do is use my pencil to sketch out the basic shapes. Oh, can't put it on. That's okay. I love these Blackwing pencils, and they have the replaceable eraser and stuff. I've never had to replace the eraser though. I bought a replacement pack and I have never even opened it, and it's been years. I think it's because I don't use pencils all that often, actually. I use pens more often. So let's see. This picture is not exactly the same format, but I'm not trying to do a super exact copy either. It's a reference picture, not a, I don't know what else it would be, but just want it for the general idea. So this is that tree that I mentioned is super in bloom. Oh, you know what? I might end up using some of the brown for these tree trunks. We'll see though. I might just use the greenish black in a more not watered down format. Let's see. Here's the tree trunk. And another tree trunk. So I guess this is actually a bunch of trees and they're all... Oh, I gotta turn my monitor. There. They're all like in front of one another. Places a shiny thing. Are you trying to distract me? It might work. I'm distractible. I'm extremely distractible. I looked up the listing. It's 80 pages, 40 sheets. 80 pages, okay. If I do a vista, that would mean, because a page is this, so I'll just say between 40 to 80 paintings. So that should last me a while. Even if I was able to do one every day, that's still over 2 months. Maybe. Ah, you're teasing me. It's kind of rude, but I don't hate it. This tree is kind of sad looking. It's just like barely in bloom. There's not really many leaves. So I'm going to draw all of these branches. It's like a cluster of trees that all come down here. And then there's a even sadder looking tree in the back. It's all branches. It's like green, like the branches themselves are green, so they're probably covered in buds, because this is a spring picture. But you can totally see all the stuff behind. There. And then, it's hard for you guys to see, huh? Well, there's those trees. Then, let's see. I'm taking out all the human elements, so I'm just going to have to sort of... I can mostly see what's behind, because there's like a highway bridge here, and then there's a freeway coming down here. But then there's like grassy stuff, so I'm just going to bring the grassy stuff all the way across. Just sort of make it up. And then my picture has like a light reflection in the camera, so there's like this huge blue circle right here. I'm not going to paint that either, because that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to practice. So this is just my made up stuff. But then there's like this foresty stuff farther away. And they're just these like spiky evergreen trees. My favorite part of the Pacific Northwest landscape is these trees. Here's a bigger one. Oh. Bigger and darker, farther away. So that means it's really big because it's farther back than these, but it's still taller. Like a little sad tree. Well, it's not really sad, but it looks kind of sad. Now I've got to make up some trees because this is where the highway is. Just fill it in with similar shapes. No sad trees, only happy trees. Yeah, they're all happy. They're not dead. Happy little trees. It's really hard to see over here. I've got the general shapes, so that's alright. Oh, there. And they do seem to continue behind these. Okay. I'll say a bear tree. There's a bear tree right there. And spikes of these pine trees. Well, not pine trees. Okay, that's it. Oop. That's good. Oh, these branches still come out like this. Oop. Oop. Okay. Next is the first hill. You can still, it's still close enough you can see texture from the trees covering it. And you can even see a darker patch on the top. And then this mountain starts. So right here is really obvious hill or whatever. But then it gets kind of ambiguous right here, and then right here is a different one. And these are starting to become just blocks of colors. You can barely tell that there's... This is like the second day in a row I've gotten a Bob Ross. It makes me happy. I'm a happy tree. I'm a happy little tree. Dang. I focus so much on these bottom trees. I'm not going to be able to get the proper mountains, but that's okay. This is just to learn how to draw these landscapes, so. And this is where some snow starts. These mountains are far enough away that there's patches of snow on them. It's interesting because they're kind of like straight across instead of up and down or something. I wonder if it's because of roads going back and forth up the mountain or something. Omoshiroi, omoshiroi. There's a patch of snow with the trees growing out of it. Okay. There, that's good enough for the sketch. Just so I know where to put the colors. And hold it up so that maybe you can see it better. Looks alright. So now, I'm going to start painting. With watercolor, you start with the lightest colors first. So, put those there. I think I'm going to do this tree because it's got white blossoms on it, but also green leaves. So I need just a super light application of this yellowish black. Do lots of dots to try to help bring out that blossomy look. And I don't know how effective it will be, but that's why I'm practicing by doing these. The more I try, the more I will figure out what I like and how to get effects that I want. I gotta keep in mind that watercolors also dry lighter than they go on. Do some lines coming out because towards the edges you can sort of see the branches. Yeah, I'm glad I got this little palette specifically for these paints. It's having diluted already, and then if I want a really rich coverage, I can just use it directly. Yep. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Just want to add a little bit more. Right here it's looking kind of ghostly. Need a little bit more. So there are white flowers on here, but they're not the entire thing. Just like moss or leaves or something on here too. Oh, yeah, this is looking good. Okay, I'm going to leave that like that for now. And I might come back to it later if I don't like how it looks. If I'm not satisfied with how it looks after it dries. But the next is another, this green again for these other trees. No, this is yellowish black. Whoop. A little too much on there. So this one actually has what looks like yellow buds. So I'm gonna make the shapes of the branches by putting a bunch of dots along the lines I drew, instead of just doing a plain old line. Gotta be careful not to touch the lines I've created before they dry though, otherwise it'll just all kind of meld together and then I'll lose that nice blossomy branch look. Ah, that's too much. Too much, too much. Yay, this is looking good. So far I've only used one color. Okay, let that one dry. This one in the back, I don't know if I want to use the yellow or maybe I'll use the green. Maybe I'll mix them. I'll do the yellow first. And then I'll put green on top of it because I want to make it a little darker. Yes, looks awesome. I love watercolor, it's so fun. It's so fun to use. It does seem to go all the way down to the bottom. Well, it's in the back, so I'm going to sort of do like dots to show that it's showing through the limbs of these other trees. Yes. Now let's add some of the green to darken it up. This one was green, right? Yeah. Just a tiny bit though. It's way darker. Way darker than the yellowish black. Oh, it's working great. It's working great. Yay! I'm just painting mostly directly on the yellow lines that I did. Even the ones that are still wet, because what the heck, it'll just blend in some interesting way. Yes, yes, it's working. It's working. Oh, it's awesome. I guess now I'll work on this grassy area. So I'm trying to find the lightest stuff first and work light to dark. I love the edges. I love the edges of a spot of watercolor. I don't know how to describe that correctly, but and you put down a little plop of watercolor and then the edges, and they always dry. The pigment always goes to the very edge, and so it's always a little bit darker. So it hasn't like a naturally gets an outline, I guess. It's so cool. That's why I like physical media stuff so much more than digital media, because it's like it has its own life a little bit. There's a little tiny bit that you can't control. Man, I've used so much I had to refill this. There we go. And then there's some on this side. Oop. There. Next color, definitely green. Definitely green. So you paint other things too besides landscapes? Yeah, I paint like whatever catches my fancy, I guess. I'm still in school for my illustration degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts Illustration, so I have plenty of painting classes ahead of me as well, although unless they've changed recently, you have to paint in oils, and I don't like oil paints at all. I like watercolors, but yeah, the stuff I like to paint for fun is whatever happens to be of interest to me at the time. Because I like doing illustrations for my degree. That might be obvious, but so I often have characters, some figure that the viewer can relate to, or something that tells a story. But right now I'm just practicing so that when I make the illustrations for the stories I want to tell, I can do them more easily and freely. Because I don't have all that much practice doing landscapes, especially not like this. I've done some, but I've never undertaken a project, and I'm making this a project. Oil paint seems like such an endeavor to take on. Yeah. Yep, it's so troublesome. I mean, it's not like I look down on anyone who wants to use oils or anything, but I don't like to use them, so I don't like that I have to use them for certain classes. Because what I've heard in the past is the reasoning is if you are trying to be a gallery style career artist, oils are going to sell the best. And that's why there's such an emphasis on them. But I'm not trying to be a gallery artist. Galleries might come in to my career at some point, but I just want to create illustrations and tell stories, so it doesn't really matter what media you use if that's your goal. Another thing is that they're not just troublesome, they're dangerous. The fumes and stuff that come off of them, or come off the linseed oil or whatever it is that you're using, you can get less fumey ones now, so that's good. But then they're also a fire hazard. So whenever we use them in my university classes, you have to be super careful and like make sure you have all the ventilation on. You have to dispose of your like towels that have paint and stuff on them in a special fire safe trash can and stuff, because at least what they taught me in my first class was that it can literally just ignite from the weight of the towels on themselves. And they go, what? Why are we using these if it's that dangerous? But then, you know, it got explain the gallery thing, so. But, I mean, it's good. It's good to be exposed to different stuff, so I shouldn't complain too much. I just look forward to my illustration classes more than anything, because in my illustration classes, the point is how effectively are you telling your story? Yeah, of course, if you, like, draw something and it just doesn't look right, you know. For instance, last semester, it seemed I was the only one willing to point out that someone drew a hand backwards so that their thumb was on the wrong side, and I knew that this person's project was paid, because it's cool in our classes, if you have a paid illustration project, you're allowed to make that your project for the semester. So I was like, she probably does not want a backwards hand in her paid project. So we do get critique on that kind of stuff, but it's not really, if you want to use a different media, it's just up to you to make sure to learn it. And if you want to practice it in class, and that's cool. So it's much more freeing. So then I can use all kinds of stuff. I usually use a bunch of stuff together. For instance, last semester I used watercolor, and then I scanned it in, and then I put lines on digitally, and then also screen tones on digitally. So it was a super mixed media thing, and I really like doing that kind of stuff. Here's my grass. Here's my grassy area. I'm not sure how to make it stand out from the trees in the back. I guess they're a lot darker, so I will use a much darker application for these background trees. These ones along here. I just do digital art and have my artwork slapped on products the website sells. That's a good idea. I have one like that too. What website do you use for your products? Because I know there's about 1 billion of them, and so I've had to start being selective, because I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this multiple places to upload my art. Redbubble. Oh, I've heard that one. Heard of that one. Do you like it? What kind of stuff do they have on there? I mean, I've heard of it. I've heard of other people doing it, but I don't use it, so I don't know what kind of products they offer. Oh, this is so satisfying. I really like this. Tapping these on to get the evergreen tree texture. It's so satisfying. Yes. Some of these, I actually want to put a little yellow in there too. Some of these nearer ones are more like a yellow green than just a green. Oh, wow. 38 designs and over 3,000 products. 3,000 products. That is a lot of variety. So, they sell like tablet and phone cases, stickers, water bottles, clothes for kids. Okay. That's similar to the one that I am using. I'm using Fine Art America, but Fine Art America, unless you pay, you're limited to, I think, 25, which is fine, because then I'll just rotate out older stuff. Do they have limits or anything on Redbubble? This is so cool looking. I really like this. I really like this. It's like, it's not, what am I trying to say? I don't care so much that it looks realistic, like photorealistic. I just like I like this cool effect I'm getting. should have watered this down a little bit more. Oh well, too late now. It's too late now. There's no limits, but it takes time for things to sell. Well, that's definitely, the taking time thing is definitely the same as Fine Art America. It's basically, from my experience with Fine Art America, you gotta be advertising your products yourself, and then, because I do get a report that people looked at it this week, but the only time I've made sales is because I've like posted about it on my social media and stuff, like promote a specific design. This is so sweet. I am having a lot of fun with this. Okay, so these ones I also want to do a little more yellow, because they're a lot closer to the picture plane, as it's called. Their traffic is organic, so things will show on different places. Got it. I've heard of that one quite a bit. I think it's pretty popular, and that helps. Because if people know about it, then they know to just search for it. Something cool that I like on Fine Art America is that you can join their program to license your art to digital frames, so that places that have these digital frames can like choose to have your art show up in the frame for like a day or for a week or whatever, and you get paid by the minute. I think it's like a penny per minute or something. So it doesn't seem like much, but if someone chose to show your art and then they keep it up all day, it sort of starts to add up. I haven't had anyone pick to show my art yet, but just gotta keep working on it, keep uploading my newer and better stuff. Mine's mostly direct traffic, so my shop link was being shared around a bit. Then I have a small amount of search engine and social media traffic. That's good. I feel like, based on everything that I've researched, because I do research all the time, I'm like, how do I get people, or whatever, how do I get my career going? And having this social media is a huge one. I actually took an arts entrepreneurship class last semester, and not everybody relied on social media because not everybody had the same kind of career. There was a huge variety. There was like photographers, videographers. This guy was a puppeteer for Broadway and stuff. So there was a huge range of career paths that people we spoke to who were, still actively pursuing their careers. So not everyone used social media, but the people that were similar to what I'm trying to do, it was huge. And I've read it elsewhere too, so I already agreed, but just getting it reiterated from people. They're also from my area too, so it's like, yay. You can live here and succeed in your creative career. Just not much search traffic on the website though. So like search traffic from Redbubble itself isn't getting to you. Is that what you mean? 'Cause that's kind of what's happening with mine on Fine Art America too. But I don't paint stuff that's wildly, like, I paint weird subjects. Not weird, but I don't know, niche stuff. So it's not like, I don't know, like, I don't create art that features the American flag or something, you know, something that would be super popular. Or, I don't know. What else would be super popular? I do animals. Animals are popular. Your artwork isn't mainstream. Yep. Yeah, that's the way to put it. Which is fine. So I know that it's going to be a little harder and stuff. But the biggest reason I want to create art, especially the books that I'm working on, is because I want to connect with people who like similar things. So it's okay. I don't mind if it's not that popular or something. Because if I connect with someone who likes these less mainstream things, then I can have a more, what's the word? A richer relationship? Yeah, I think that's what I want to say. So this part is tough. I've been resisting so hard drawing these dark trunks, but I've got to do the lighter stuff first. Got to do the stuff around it. It's kind of hard because there's like traffic signs and stuff, because I cut the, you know, there's like a highway here in this picture. But I didn't want to paint the highway, so I think this is good though. It's just this little tiny area, so once it's all done. Yes. Now what is this? I drew these lines here. Okay, it's another tree like this one. So I will paint it similarly to how I did that one. Y'all, this is so satisfying. I can't even tell you. Look at this. How these dried with the. Can you? I can't tell if you can see the way it dried on each of these little. I love that look. I think it's so cool. So satisfying because you don't get to see it right away. You have to wait for it to dry, and then it's, I don't know, it's kind of like a surprise or something. Like a cool surprise. Okay, got this tree in over here. It looks different up close. I thought so. Here, I'll hold it properly. Try to move my lamp or something. Hit the camera. Hopefully it'll, come here, focus. Focus on this. There. You can see more of what I'm seeing. Oh, that's so fun. And I got that ink, so when I'm done, I'll put like more details here to bring stuff out. Got this black ink. And I'll just put it on the stuff in the foreground because then that will make it pop, make it feel like it's even closer. Okay, what's this part? It's like a pine tree. I'm calling them pine trees. I know they're not pine trees. Evergreen trees. This one's pretty dark, so I'm gonna just use it like this. Yeah, it goes all the way down. Boop, 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 boop. There. I'm gonna end up a little bit darker, but it'll lighten up as it dries. And there's the rest of these. But I can finally paint these trunks. These tree trunks. Going to use brown. want it to be too dark though. I need a little water. A little more water in here. More water. There. So these ones that are from a different tree than is in the foreground, you can't see them through these flowering branches. But this main one in the middle you can. And it goes kind of up and to the side. It's like this, and then it gets lost, and it sort of reappears up here. And then there's another branch. Starts like right there, and it goes more straight up, but then it branches off again right here. Goes straight up right here. And then you can see some branches that they don't look connected. You can see them here and there. Ugh! I'm suddenly wishing that I had remembered to wear my glasses. I keep forgetting. Okay, now I'm gonna start adding them less based on the photo and more just on the painting itself. It needs to be a little darker. And here, a little darker here. Okay, that's good for now. If it looks like it needs more, once it's dried, then I'll add more. I think I'll do the same with this tree right here too, because some areas do look more brown than this, either leaves or moss on it. Especially towards the trunk. So I guess they're probably leaves that are making these branches on this tree look green. Don't forget to hydrate. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I've got my water bottle right here. Okay, Acorn. See you when you get back. Okay. Yeah, the dark brown doesn't really show up down here. It's really light yellowy green. So I'll just leave that. This I wanted to add, I don't know if it's flowers or what, but there is like some slightly red looking stuff on these hills here. So I'm going to add just a little bit to, and then I can use the red. It's a good excuse to use the red too. I want it to be thinned out enough though. Hope that's good. And I got that tiny brush, but this one has been fine. I love this. This looks good. So far I've just been using mostly green and yellow, which are like right next to each other on the color wheel. This red though is a complementary color to green, and it's standing out. Ooh, it looks really nice. Probably just looks dark. Can you see how it... I'm not sure if it's showing up good. Just totally stands out. Me likey, me likey. Oh, yes. This is so fun. It's so satisfying. This is also helping to bring these blotches of color that I made, bring them together and make it look like a hill by doing this all across. Grassy hills. And they start disappearing because it goes really far off into the distance over here. Yes, looks great. Looks great. And I'll do some on this side. I don't actually see them, but that's because it's mostly highway. So in order to unify it, I'll put some over here too. And a little bit more right here. Yes, looks good. Man, these are fun. I've never painted with watercolors that are this shade, this dark shade. This is like a little tree right here. What? I guess I should use the yellow. Wow, I've used a lot of yellow. I ran out again. More water. There. That should be good. I'm so glad. I know I said it already, but I'm so glad I bought this palette. It's working great. The people at Jet Pens, which is the place that I saw it, combined with this, they know what they're doing. Jet Pens is also where I got this. This cap. I'm kind of obsessed with them. I keep every payday I make a little order. So I also got this glove, and I've always wanted one of these because I'm a lefty. So like smudging graphite on the side of your hand, or even ballpoint pen, it's like the struggle is real. And then it's also good for tablet work too. I will often have this thing where my hand is not exactly sweaty, but it's tacky enough that it gets stuck on the screen and then my line gets messed up. But this keeps it smooth, and I have smooth lines all the time. Ah, welcome back. That was short, I'm glad. Just a few more of these trees. Are any of them looking kind of blue or... not really. They're all close enough that they're either greenish or yellowish. The blue ones start coming in like around here. So let's see. And this is where in my reference picture there's that lens flare. Huge bright blue. So I'm just sort of guessing over here, but it's okay. This is just for practice anyway. And not meant to be photorealistic in any case. Maybe a little bit more pigment. Especially as we get farther down. Because then it should get darker as it goes farther down because it's being shaded by its like neighbor trees. It's so satisfying. This is so satisfying. Thank you, Sarah, for these awesome paints. I'm having such a great time. Thanks to you sending them to me. Looks so cool. They work really well too. Because I've had some pan watercolors where you really gotta work it to get it going. You know, you've got to put a lot of water on it. You got to work and work and work and work to get the pigment to come out. But these ones are like just a damp brush in one stroke and psh, you've got a ton of color. Yes, mix some of the green in with this yellow. Get some organic mixing going on the page. So the rest of these trees I'm just going to do in this green. I'll start from the bottom so that it's darker, and then as I start running out of pigment it'll get lighter. Works great. Works great. Trying not to get... I want these to look somewhat like separate trees. Trying not to get it to meld too much. A little bit more. It's not going to last me to the top of this tree. Oh, I need more water. There. So one here, I guess I'll do this one, and then I can let that dry a little bit more. And once I finish these, I'll be done with the foreground and start really working on the background. I guess I'll just use what I've got left for this last little tree poking out here. Yosh, looks good. Maybe I'll do a little bit around right here. Just to get a tiny bit more definition. This little grove of trees. Here too. That's a little bit. Yeah, that seems better. Okay, so this is done. The bottom half is done. This has still got a little bit of like tree texture. So I'll do more of this sort of, I don't know if you'd call it stippling or what, but and then when I get up to these parts, I'm going to do bigger like swatches. I'll probably use this one or this one, just filling in bigger areas all at once. But then over here is where there's trees with snow around them, so there's a lot of texture over here. So I'll go back to doing this, boop, 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 that kind of thing. Just planning out loud. Maybe you might want to hear what my plans are. I think I should... Maybe I'll actually do this part first, and then that way this side of the page can dry while I'm working on this. I'm gonna check. What's this doing? Sweet. It's not bleeding through at all, so I should definitely be able to do front and back for all these pages. It's gonna look awesome. I'm excited. Yay! Okay. I don't know how long it'll take me though, because once fall semester starts, I definitely won't be able to... If I'm lucky, I could live stream once a week. But I doubt it, because I'm not only taking 12 credits, I got a job at the World Language Resources Center as a language lab facilitator. So I've got like 8 hours there, and then I also agreed to be a volunteer TA for one of my professors, so that's another 1 hour a week. Would be a waste if it bled through on the other side. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was going to, but it didn't, so this is gonna be a really satisfying sketchbook. Okay, there we go. Time to get this. You know what? I should probably. What should I do? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I'm using my teeny brush now because these trees are so far away. I'm gonna make as tiny of dots as I can to help it stand out from all these other dots that I've got going on here. So many dots. I barely got any of this blue down, and I feel like happiness welling up as it looks so nice next to these other colors. It's barely on here. It's gonna look so cool with this blue filled in, working with the greens. Like there's only 6 colors here, but it's more than enough to make a satisfying landscape. Oh, I need a little bit more pigment. I didn't get the snow patches drawn exactly right, but it's not that important, as long as I get the overall effect. So yeah, this is mostly solid until it gets to this big patch of snow. I've got so many pictures too, because I've gone to Seattle and Portland quite a few times over the years. So I have plenty of, I'm sure I have plenty of pictures to reference if I wanted to make this entire book the Pacific Northwest. Plus, if I count Boise, then I can just go take a new picture whenever I want. I like to count Boise because I live here and I want to be part of the Pacific Northwest. I know it's just barely. Some people don't include it, but when I see weather channels that are like in Oregon and they include Boise when they're doing their little local weather report. I'm like, yay, we're included. Oh, it looks so nice. I want to get a little bit more, I don't know what you call it, raw color. There's some really dark stuff down here to help it stand out from these trees. Ah! A little bit of water. There. It's working. It's working. Not that I didn't think it would work. It's just always so different. You imagine it, but then when you actually do what you're imagining, it's just so exciting. Oh, it needs to go straight across here. And it needs to be visible behind this tree. Although maybe I'll use this tree as the cutoff and then move up. Yeah. I'll do that. Need a little more water because there's tiny little trees poking up out of the snow. This tiniest little texture. They make a texture in the snow. Let's see. This is okay. So this goes like this. Good. I'm glad that I have use for this tiny brush. Here's like a bigger patch. Yes! Yes, it's looking right. It's looking how I want. And there's these like little outliers every so often. Let's put those in there. These little single trees triumphantly standing above the snow. Okay, now right here. So this is that. And this is this. So this is all dark. This is all dark trees. Sometimes I forget what my own sketch is supposed to be. And I've messed up before, so I try to be extra careful when I don't feel sure. I mean, I say I messed up, but you can always fix it. I just mean that I do what I did not intend to do, and then I have to compensate. So cool. Just doing a bunch of little dots. It gives you that far away, but still pretty close up mountain effect. That's why I like painting organic stuff, because you can just do like the little dots. You get the overall effect and it's fine. When I try to draw other stuff, it's a lot harder. Like a couple years ago, I went to this Air Force museum that's in the valley area here. And so I drew a lot of the old-timey cars. Because it's more like a World War I, World War II, I think, museum. And they had some really sweet old cars in there. So I did some sketches in charcoal. But they weren't that great. It's hard. It's hard to draw a solid, like, this circle, and then this circle, this has to be, and this has to be exact, and it has to fit exactly this many. charcoal is so messy too. Yep, I like to use, so when I do stuff like that, because I like to do that at the zoo here too. I bring, instead of like sticks, I bring the pencils. And I just usually pick one relatively soft pencil and then like a black charcoal pencil and a white charcoal pencil. And then I bring colored paper like a gray. And then you can get really fast and cool looking sketches that way. Since the gray is your mid-tone already, so you just add the shadows and then you add the highlights so you can sketch quickly. I'll also get the whatever you're trying to draw totally shows up correctly. And what's here? So this is this patch. This is that sort of circular patch. Oh, I see. I need to add more trees right here. Seen people use charcoal. Have you ever used charcoal? That's like a standard for the drawing classes that I've taken in university. So if you don't like charcoal, you're like screwed. You have to use it for all your drawing classes. It was such a relief last drawing class I took, which was last fall, or it was either last fall or spring of 2019. The final picture was with colored pencils, and I was like, oh, thank you. Something I like using instead of boring no colors. I like colors. So this is charcoal stuff. Charcoal looks cool. It's like I'm not judging anyone who thinks it looks cool or judging pictures that use it, but I don't personally like using it that much. It's like the pencils for my quick sketches. I'm a little confused. What was I trying to get right here? So here's this line. Here's this line. So this is okay. I think I understand what I was sketching. I've honestly never been a fan of coloring stuff. Like when I was doing my comic and things, coloring was the most tedious, hardest part. But since you kind of introduced me to watercolors, I've had a lot more fun. Even if I don't use watercolors in the more traditional sense. That's good. I'm glad you found a way to color that you like. I mean, I guess I knew that because you started using watercolors for your comic pages. But yeah, colored pencils are really, they can be so beautiful, but if you want to do a picture that's nothing but colored pencil, it is very tedious. Just like you said, it takes forever. I think that's why I sort of transitioned away from doing completely colored pencil pictures to using colored pencils to accent my my marker colorings, because the marker covers a lot more area, and then the colored pencil can give it a smoother final finish and add in little details of color that you, or at least I can't get with the markers that I have. Okay, so then there's like a patch of trees right here. Gotta reposition my chair real quick. There. And then the patch sort of grows up in like an upside down triangle up to here, but then it's sort of misty. There's like misty clouds on the mountains, so it doesn't, you can't see it going all the way up. And then in this section, there's like a big bunch of trees right here. Curves out kind of like a vase. Now to add those little tiny patches of trees that are sort of like little single warriors. Right here. It comes up. Little triangle trees. Yeah. Over here there's a lot more. There's a lot more of those little single looking trees. I mean, it's so far away, they're probably not single trees. But that's what it looks like. Here, I'm gonna lift this up again for you guys. Whoop, whoop, there. There's that blue. Oh, it's hard to get my light on it. I think it's looking really sweet. This stuff is working really well together. Okay, so this part is just like the clouds. So I'm not even going to put anything in that little corner right there. This part, sort of like a line of snow here and a line of snow here, but there's like trees sticking out. It's also kind of misty because of the clouds, so I'm not going to do the... I'm going to do a more smooth application because I don't really see that texture anymore because of the clouds up here. Like I sort of see it. So I'll add some, but first I'm going to put these more misty shapes. I was thinking about my dog and you said her name at the same time that I was thinking Misty, even though you weren't talking about the same Misty. That is weird. What the heck? That is an amusing coincidence. Your dog is so cute too. Whenever you post a picture of her, it's like, oh my god, that's so cute. She's like a really fluffy version of my dog soon. Also with a lot more white. A lot more white fur. Isn't she like a husky Shiba? That would explain why she's more fluffy but still looks kind of similar. Aw, Misty is the prettiest, most fluffiest girl. I love her so much. Oh yeah, husky Shiba. That's what I thought I remembered. Come on, blue paint, you can do it. Let's get a little more pigment in here. Yeah, like right there, I can't see anything. It's just totally cloudy. Boop, 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 boop. Right here, there's a little more. A little more. I'm gonna do a little bit I know. Need a little more pigment. So it's looking a little too flat. So over here on the reference image, it's a lot darker because this cloud is sort of dissipating. Give it a little more depth by adding some darker spots. Yeah, like right here. Yes, it makes such a big difference. It's just the same color, just darker. More, well, I don't want to say vibrant, because it's not really more vibrant. Less diluted. Yes, that's what it is. It's less diluted. Okay, I'm done with this section. Now, no, I'll do this next. I need a much bigger brush than this teeny tiny little thing. We'll use this shader brush. I got it recently. I got it this week when I opened one of the Art Snacks boxes. It was the one that had the like, it's called Velvetouch, and it has this like, feels so nice when you hold the handle. Let's see, this is a more, I think I'll mix the green and the yellow in here again. Dang it, I gotta remember to hold this thing, at least when I'm using a bigger brush. A little more green. Okay. Ooh, here I go. Here I go. Oh, it's quite dark. I guess I needed a little more yellow, but that's okay. Looks awesome. Looks awesome. I like it. I like it. So there's some areas, I can't really see, it doesn't look like. There's some areas where the paint is collecting. So some are lighter. Oh, come on, focus. Some are lighter and some are darker. Yeah, you can see that, I think. I love that effect. One of those organic effects that you just, even if you can sort of replicate it in digital media, it's not as satisfying to me because it didn't just naturally, randomly happen because of the paint interacting with this particular piece of paper and because of the brush and how wet it is or whatever. I like the surprise. Okay, a little more yellow. Not saying I don't like digital media either. I usually, actually, in a lot of my recent pieces, combine both. I'll start with physical media and do what I want with that, and then I do what I want that I can only do with digital media, like adding really super clean, precise lines, or adding screen tones, or adding cool effects and stuff. That's something that my illustration classes have taught me, actually. Because in the illustration world, it's not about the media you're using, it's about your effectiveness in communicating whatever message you're trying to communicate. Okay, and then this part was a lot darker, so I'm going to go back to pure green. In fact, I think I'm going to get a bunch of this out and use this to mix green with the blue so that it looks way different. Well, maybe not way different, but at least noticeably different from this color. Okay. So get some green. Oh, I've got to hold this thing. I've got to remember that. I've got to hold that. Okay, green. And blue. And mix them. Ooh, that's a nice looking color. And then maybe a little water. Hopefully this will be dry enough by the time I get over to that side. It's not quite dry over there. I'll try not to mix it too much. This is not a problem if it mixes. It's all the same, like hill or whatever this would be. Mountain spur? I don't know. Sweet! Next. I'm getting close to done because now this part is like pretty flat. There is some texture to it, but it's like a very regular texture because it's just a single forest of trees, I guess, covering these hills or mountains very evenly. And right here is lighter and more green, so I guess I'll use this again. Okay, now more blue. More blue. I'm gonna try something. I hope it works. Yeah, not bad, not bad. I think it worked. This part, once it gets dry, is quite dark. So once it dries, I'll put a really dark bit and like move it upwards. But also right here is pretty dark, so I'll do that here right now, since this stuff is still so wet. Hopefully I didn't get too much. We'll see. This is practice after all. Now time to bring it down. Yes. Yes. Just like encouraging the paper. Encouraging the paint to move almost on its own by getting the paper wet. Ooh, the paper's getting real wrinkly. That's how it works though. Cool. Putting in some solid areas really accentuates all the dots you've been doing. Oh, good. Yeah, I didn't want it to be all dotty dots. Just seemed the best way to get those trees in there. Spread out. Yeah, I've got a little bit too much, so I'm going to take some off. It might be blue, but it's not that dark because of atmospheric perspective. It's quite far away. Yeah, you can see a little bit of the mountain through this tree. So I'm gonna add some of this blue in there. Neat. Neat. I love this organic look. This is called wet on wet techniques, because I have wet paper and I'm putting wet paint. Not really looking at the picture very much now. I'm just kind of having fun directing the paint around on the paper. I'm gonna do this area a little bit more too. I gotta get it more wet though. The nice thing with this sketchbook is that even though this paper is all wrinkly, all I have to do is shut the sketchbook. I'll wait till it's dry, of course, but just shut the sketchbook and let it sit closed. I'll clamp it with like a couple of binder clips, and then the painting will be all flat after like I don't know, a week or so. Water right here. I want it to get really cloudy and random. The only thing I'm trying to be careful is that since the paper is wrinkled right now, it would be easy to get paint on the next page. If I can avoid that, I want to. Okay, let me look at this. This part's too light. Okay, while that's drying, I'm going to add a little bit more blue to this tree. Kind of, right now it's standing out a little bit too much. I want it to look like it's part of the scene. Like here, I want to keep a lot of the white spots because they're the actual flowers on the tree. But I don't want it to look like a cutout or something. Same thing with this tree here. Let's add a little bit of light application of blue. Sort of marry the foreground and the background. I'll do that with these pine trees as well. Whoa, got way too much. Got way too much. Don't need that much. That is way too much. Ah. There. I've already forgot that these paints just come right up. Even though I've been using them for what? I don't know how long I've been streaming. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours. Already forgot. That's good though. It's just so easy to use. Makes it really user-friendly. You can get straight to painting without fighting with your materials first. Wow, this I need a little more green actually. This hill is green. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Like right here, it's just too hard of a line right there. A little more texture to this more foreground mountain. So it's looking a little flat, and I can still see it's still close enough. I can sort of see the shape of the forest that's on it. Don't want it to look too flat. No, not too flat. Get some nice texture. Man, this is so wrinkly. Guess it did come through a little bit because I put such heavy water application. But it's not enough to make me not want to use both sides. Because I'm just using this for sketches anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. It's more about the practice that I'm getting than what the results look like. So right here, it's still a little bit too light. Put a little bit of yellow. Maybe I can even thin it out so that I can just put a kind of a wash on top without losing too many of the details that I already did. Hopefully. Oh yeah, it seems like it's working. Because this one I want white. It has white flowers on it. These other areas where I've just sort of not put any paint, I need to color that in a little bit. I'll even do it on this tree over here too. In fact, do it right here as well. Oh, that's way better. That looks way better. Yay! Yeah, maybe I'll do the same thing over here as well. It's a super, super, super light application. I really love the dark, earthy tones of these paints. Yep, you made a good choice. These look awesome. They're great for landscapes, actually. These are like the perfect... I wonder if that's what it says. Oh, right. They'll fall out again. I'll look at it later. Because, yeah, this is an excellent palette. This has been an excellent palette for... I mean, I guess if you wanted to draw a field of flowers, then it wouldn't look as... It wouldn't work as well. I'm going to use a bigger brush. Because they're not bright poppy colors like a flower, but... super light application just to fill in these white spots. In fact, I'm actually pulling the paint a little bit and filling the white spots with the paint that's just nearby. That works too. There's only one area where I actually want... Well, and then the snow in the background, of course. Grab those glittery paints for flowers. Yep, that's true. Oh, that's too much. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Just do a little bit. That's pretty good. Okay, I think I'm done with the paint. I just want to use the ink to add some details to the more foreground elements, but it needs to dry first, so I'm gonna clean up a little bit. Get my brush wiped good. But since it's watercolor, I don't have to worry about it. I love watercolors! You can let your brush totally dry, and you can clean it when you're ready. I'll close these for now. I feel like maybe this does intend for you to use it for landscape, because that's exactly what this looks like right here. Looks like a landscape, like a really cloudy, foggy, actually looks quite like the picture I chose. They work great. These paints are awesome. And even after I've used them, this palette looks so pretty with just the leftover stuff in it. I'm done with my brushes. Get those to the side. Done with this. And move that up there. So now I want to use, and this might be kind of crusty when I open it. Let's see. Oh good, it's fine. There's this and this cool pen. Kept this little rubber protector thing. This cool glass pen. Still a bit wet though. Get some of this stuff up in here. Maybe. Paper towel is totally used up. No, just making it dirtier. There, I think that's better. Oh really? I've seen someone use a glass pen for writing in an ASMR video I watched. That's interesting. I've watched one video, ASMR. Sorry, I'm stretching. But it was kind of a joke one. But I was reading about it recently because I think it's fascinating. It's like a, what is it? It's like a phenomenon. Didn't I buy that pen for you too? Yes, you did! And it turned out perfect because in my printmaking workshop this summer, the professor was like, if you have one of these glass pens, and then this is what I used to make those shark prints. I don't know if you remember them. I have them around here somewhere. Those shark prints that I made for my final project. I used this pen because she recommended it, and I'm like, yay, I have one. So while that dries, I'm gonna look at this. I love this book. Creating Textures in Pen and Ink with Watercolor. I always turn to it when I want some inspiration. So like, look at this. They used both lines and stippling right here. I'm gonna see if there's like a landscape thing in here. Oh, it's the same one as that, only his was colored blue. Oh, interesting. And I'm glad I got red, because red is my fave. Sarah knows. Sarah knows red is my fave. Oh, that's interesting. They used straight up and down lines right here. And here's, it says scribble and parallel line ink texturing. So they use scribble on the trees, and this is like exactly what I'm doing. So maybe I will do this. Let's see if there's anything else. This is still a little damp. Just added this book to my Amazon wishlist. It's a good one. This and didn't I get you the one called the Complete Watercolorist Essential Notebook? That's the other one. I have several. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 watercolor, and then I have a watercolor pencil book. But this one and that Essential Notebook are the ones I always turn to for ideas. Look at, they did this car so well. Oh, This is more not organic stuff. Guess that picture with the... Oh, look. Oh, look at that. Yeah, they do this straight up and down in the really background forests. And then the sort of scribbly lines here. Oh, and in the super background they went... But I don't think I can get lines this thin. Oh, sorry. You can't even really see them because they're so thin. Oh well. I think maybe I'll do these up and down and the scribbly ones. Because it seems to... Here's another similar one to what I've done. They've got it going at an angle. Okay. I will use that. Still a tiny bit damp, but I think it's good enough. Good enough to get going. Oh good, I did get you the other one. I love that one. It has all these, like, all the basic techniques you'd ever need and then some. Don't want it to drip. Worst case, if it does drip though, I'll just try to daub it away before it's too late. Okay. So here's where they use scribbly. Alright, I need a little bit more ink than that. Came off way. Ah, it's coming off way too much. Oh no. Okay, I'll just bring it around. It doesn't want to work that well on the watercolor. The ink doesn't want to come off. When it does come off, it's a huge blob. Blah, I did it again. Huge blob. Huge blob. Huge blob. Ah. Maybe it doesn't like the paper? I don't know if it doesn't like the paper or the watercolor. I guess it could be both. Well, I guess I'll continue like this since I've already got this sort of effect going. Yeah, it just doesn't, it holds on to the ink until it finally lets it go and it's like, yeah, it might be better if I use a brush. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a brush. Worked great for my shark prints. I think there's something about this paper, it just doesn't like it. So I'll use this teeny brush. Yeah, I'll use the teeny brush. Yeah, that's better. I had started reading it at one point, but got distracted and then never went back to finish looking at everything. Well, that's okay. I've never, like, finished reading it either. I just like to look for techniques. Maybe something, just flip around until I see something I want to try, or if there's something that I want to see if it talks about and if I can learn from that book. Or whatever. Yeah, I've never read any of my like art instruction books cover to cover. I just look for what's interesting and then do it. Scribbly lines, scribbly lines, scribbly lines. Until this ink dries, I can't really tell because it's so shiny for me. The light is shining right on the ink. So it just looks like a shiny blob. It's definitely bringing this stuff into the foreground though, which is the whole reason I wanted to use ink on top of this. Might be special kind of watercolor. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, the binder, I could be leaving a texture. Satisfying. But then again, I've never tested that pen. Maybe I'll do that once this is all done. I've never tested that pen on the paper without paint on it. So then I could figure out exactly what it is so that I have that for future knowledge, future reference. Scribble, 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 scribble. That's pretty fun. This is pretty satisfying. There. It's working. There's this big one. This is a different tree here, so I'll add some straight lines, straight-ish lines, to try and show that that's a different tree. I think it all just gets lost though. Scribbly, 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 scribbly. Almost forgot these trees on this side. Totally does help them stand out from the background. Okay, all those trees are done. Get these ones over here. Scribbly. I guess back here I should add that kind of texture. To suggest that there are more of these kind of trees behind these ones. or that there's something instead of just a patch of color, because that's what it was. Well, it was until that point. I think I'll just do some stippling on these deciduous trees. About the foreground. I mean the foreground, this grassy area. Maybe I will just do the tiniest bit of stippling like in the corners to give it a sort of vignette. Wish I could get them even smaller, these little dots. This is the smallest they get with this brush, and this is a pretty small brush. Okay, then I'll do the other side. Oop, did I get in there? Sometimes hard to tell when dipping into the black ink and you're like, did I even get any? It's hard to tell. Hold this down. Maybe I'll do some here too. Oh, that's pretty good. Yay. I'm going to add a little more to this tree here to help sort of delineate where the two trees meet. Oh, that's better. That's much better. So I'll hold it up again, the picture. Wish I had a bigger light setup, but I just have like my lamp doesn't go as high as my camera goes. Stay. Can't hold it all the way up or else it loses the lighting, loses lighting. There it is. Not quite done yet though, because I really like the idea of putting the lines on the mountains, those straight parallel lines. But I'm not going to be able to get that with, oops, I'm going to clean this out with there we go. I'm not going to be able to get that with a brush, so I'm going to get a really small nib. Got this teeny tiny nib that should be perfect unless it doesn't want to write on this paper either. Boop. super tiny. This way I should be able to get even straight, relatively straight, even lines. Is the ink still wet over here? It's still wet here where it dripped off the glass pen. So just be careful. Try to be careful. Yeah, I think that nib pens just don't want to work on this paper or on this. It's totally not working. Okay. Well, I tried. That's not going to work. Oh, okay. Rinse it off in there. Guess I gotta use... If I want to do that, I'm going to have to use a brush. I really want to test. See if it's just the nibs. And they just don't like the watercolor on the paper, or if they don't like the paper, or what. That's cool. I've got little like spots of color here that just sort of naturally ended up like that. That's cool. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Thinking. Maybe I'll just use a. I don't know if it'll work. 05, that's too big. Brush, no. 01. Try using one of these. Like a Micron fine liner type of thing. Oh, there we go. There we go. It wants to write. Yay. Yay. I found a pen that works. For the technique I wanted to use. So it seems like I either need some sort of pre-filled pen or a brush. Hooray! Because I love this technique when I saw it in that book, but you've got to get the really thin lines for it to work. If I got thick lines like this, it would bring this hill forward, which is totally not what I want. I want it to stay in the background. But I like the visual interest that this line technique adds. It adds some like motion too, like visual motion. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I like it. Looks cool. This pen is holding up pretty well so far. I was worried that maybe the nib would get clogged, because I've had that happen before, but so far it's hanging in there. This looks really, really good. This is working good. Good job, Micron pen. I've been going away from using these, but I think I'm always going to keep them on hand because they always come in handy for little stuff like this. They might not be my main inking thing anymore. Gunk up. Oh, I get it. I gunk up my microns with watercolors all the time. Okay, I get it. Yep, I think this is a fresher one, so that's probably why it's still fresh and juicy. I wanted to look at that picture one more time, if I can find it. How they did the super background mountains. Here we go. Here's one. So they sort of let it trail off instead of, oh, you can't see. I can't really see still. I wish I had better lighting. It's like they ink here, but not, they don't ink the entire mountain as it gets way back there. Wow. This is amazing. Look at this. This is just made with lots and lots of lines. I love this book. I never am not inspired by this book. So guess what I'll do is have it go a different direction. For this farther off background mountain. Oops. Make sure that this doesn't come here. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Microns. You served me well. I'm doing some longer and some shorter on purpose to make it more interesting looking. And also making them farther apart as it goes up, because then that's sort of like receding into the background as well. Yes, this is looking awesome. I'm just sort of, I'm gonna just accent darker areas here. And this will help the tree. So it's like I didn't want the tree to stand out because of lots of white patches, but I do want it to stand out and look like the shape of a tree in front of a mountain, which is like however many miles behind it. Working awesome. It's working awesome. This technique. All right. Oh, Acorn is leaving. Okay. Have a great dinner. I am also done, so you're perfect. Perfect timing. I'm just gonna sign this. I think that this is good enough. Sign, sign, sign. Where am I gonna sign? I'll sign over here. 2020. Yay! First entry in this sketchbook complete. And I think it's already totally dry, so I can close it and clamp it so that the next time I do a painting, it'll be flat again for me to do like a large vista type painting. So yay! Thank you for sticking around with me while I was doing this painting. It made it a lot more fun to chat with you guys instead of only talking to myself the whole time. So it's still my 1 week of summer vacation, and I will be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll do another one of these. I'll probably do another art snacks unboxing because I still have 6 boxes. I still have a backlog of 6 boxes. But if you're free, it would be great if you could join me again. In any case, thank you for watching.